I'm gonna be talking about Harry's house. I just hate it. I know I shouldn't. I know it's not a big deal, but I just hate it. I forgot for a second that a grape was a thing. All over the place in the best way. An unexcited eggplant on a non-clothed human. If Niall is a Labrador, Louis is a Labradoodle, then Harry would be a poodle. Hello, this is Bella Has Opinions. I am Bella and I have opinions. So, what is this video? Why is the girl who is doing One Direction covers suddenly sitting down and talking? First, because I want to. Second, because I think there's only so much you can do in terms of personality and getting that through when you do covers. So, as you can see by the title, today I'm going to be talking about Harry's house. And before we get into anything, these are my opinions. You can have your opinions. And just because your opinions differ from mine does not mean that your opinions are not correct or that my opinions are correct. You can have your own opinions, I can have my own opinions. In fact, I'm interested to hearing your opinions. So yeah, comment your favorite songs from Harry's house and why. Because I'm going to give you my favorites and my reasons later in the video, so. Also, by the way, feel free to treat this video as a podcast. There's absolutely no need, unless you want to watch me talk. So if you have like laundry to fold, feel free to put me in the background and be the multitasking icon that I know you are, that we all are, that we all aspire to be. This video is going to be divided into 3 parts. I will put timestamps so you can skip forward if you wish to do so. The first section is going to be things that I've noticed in Harry's house. The second section is going to be Harry's house songwriting wise compared to Louis' Walls compared to Niall's albums. The last section is going to be me ranking Harry's house songs and giving you reasons as to why I dislike the songs that I dislike and why I like the songs that I really like. That's kind of how rankings work. But anyways, let's get into it. I have 4 things under things that I've noticed. First thing is the amount of odd sounds. Not odd in the bad way, just odd sounds. And this is not new for Harry. It's just way more prominent in Harry's house than it was in the earlier albums. In HS1, you'd have, in Woman, you know, the duck sound. I don't actually know what instrument makes that sound, but we all know it and we all love it. Also, in Carolina, you had the sound in the beginning where you're like, this is fun. For Harry's house, there's so many odd sounds that just give so much texture and so much interest to the songs. And you kind of go, I don't really know what makes that sound, but I kind of love it. The odd sounds that I enjoy the most in Harry's house are as follows. In Music for a Sushi Restaurant, we have this scuba doo boo boob sound, which I fucking love. It gives Sunflower Volume 6 vibes for sure. In Grape Juice, he goes 1, 2, 3, and then there's this textured guitar that comes in. I think it's a guitar, and I love it. That is also maybe one of the only things that I like about the song, but we'll return to that later. Obviously in As It Was, we have Come On Harry, I Want to Say Goodnight to You, which oddly enough gives me search romantic comedies on Netflix and see what we find vibes. Is that just me? I don't know. Lastly, in the intro to Daylight, there's some kind of piano keyboard pad with this effect on it that is really fun. The second thing that I've noticed about Harry's house is that there's less tension in the songs. And this is gonna sound odd, but if you look at, let's say, Sign of the Times, it starts and then it kind of builds up to this typical like peak at the end. The tension just grows and grows throughout the song. And you also see that in like Falling. I love when that happens in songs, and that's how I would write my own songs as well. But for this album, I noticed that there's a lot less tension. Obviously, some of the songs, you know, Satellite and Music for a Sushi Restaurant, they all built up, and also Keep Driving builds up a bit, but not to the extent that some of his other songs built up tension-wise. To me, it kind of gives the album a different vibe. It doesn't end up being as dramatic, and I think a lot of the songs you could just play over and over again without it sounding odd, because they kind of have the same energy level rather than building up to this one big peak. I was kind of expecting or hoping for this big magical ballad, kind of like Falling or If I Could Fly or just a little bit of Your Heart, because those are my favorites. I live, laugh, love for those. Oh my god, they have my heart. But I also obviously respect his artistic decision making and all of that. And Matilda and Little Freak kind of serve the same purpose for me, but a little bit of me just wanted it. But obviously no worries, I can listen to Falling and it's not a big deal. So the third thing I've noticed about Harry's House is that compared to Fine Line, I feel like his voice has changed, which is neither good nor bad, just an observation. I don't know whether he's got a new vocal coach or whether he's trained his voice in a different way. I also think that maybe it's because a lot of his songs from this album seem to be in a higher register, some of them, and he thus has to use his voice in a different way, which makes it sound different. I'm thinking the chorus in Satellite, I'm thinking Music for a Sushi Restaurant. Again, it's neither better nor worse, it's just an observation, and let's move on to the next point. The fourth point is just a little small one, and I don't know if a lot of people notice it if you're not into like music production, but I've noticed how the productions of the songs love to pan from the left ear to the right ear a lot. Not all of it, just like certain sentences will go from your left ear to your right ear. If you've not listened to the album with headphones on, you might not have noticed. You really notice it when you listen through headphones, so I highly recommend doing that if you haven't already. Moving on, I want to compare songwriting styles. Harry versus Louis versus Niall. Harry, Louis, and Niall are probably the ones that I listen to the most, which is why I've chosen them. The reason I think comparing the boys is interesting is because as One Direction, they released songs together. And seeing them now on their own, you can really see how they write. How they write when they write the way they want to write without it being a compromise between 5 people and a management. Do you know what I mean? I am not claiming that one songwriting style is better than the other. It's just interesting to compare them. Let's get into it. I want to present to you the spectrum from Niall Horan to Harry Styles with Louis Tomlinson in the middle. If we start with Niall's songwriting is very much storytelling based. It is very easy to understand, long sentences, it's simple, but it's so good. I guess you could kind of call it the Labrador of songwriters. Everyone loves it and there's no problem with it whatsoever. Examples from Niall Horan's first album.
Waking up to kiss you but nobody's there. The smell of your perfume still stuck in the air.
Examples from Heartbreak Weather would be Black and White. There's a lot of storytelling in that. And also Nice to Meet Ya. If we then move to Louis, I guess if you follow the dog analogy, he would be, very fittingly, a labradoodle. You have the same elements of storytelling and like cohesiveness in sentences, long sentences. However, Louis uses, I think, significantly more metaphors and similes and other types of play on words and phrasing and all of that. You can follow along with the story, but you also know that there's a deeper meaning. My favorite would be Walls.
Nothing wakes you up like waking up alone.
Stunning. Also Fearless in its entirety illustrates my point very well. Moving on, we have Harry, who, if Niall is a Labrador, Louis is a Labradoodle, then Harry would be a poodle. Harry does have songs where he does the same type of storytelling and all of that, but a thing that I've noticed is that he loves to put words that seemingly don't go together, and then when he does it, somehow there's a meaning, or you think that there is a meaning because he wouldn't have just put the words just to put them. So you're trying to find this meaning and you don't actually know if you found the right one, and it's not as easy to decode. Obviously he has songs that are pretty easy to decode, Boyfriends for example, but he tends to do this odd word placement that are not long sentences, just short sentences together, and somehow they create meaning. Way more than Louis or Niall. Examples of this are Canyon Moon, Doors Yellow, Broken Blue, Heard Jenny Saying, Go Get the Kids from School. Also Lights Up, Ever Since New York. And then on Harry's House, we have Music for a Sushi Restaurant, which is just all over the place in the best way. And then how could I talk about words together that shouldn't be together that somehow fit together and create meaning without talking about the Keep Driving Bridge? Tea with Cyborgs, Choke Her with a Sea View, you know? It's just all over the place in the best way. To round this off, again, I think it's important to note that obviously they have songs that don't fall into what I've just talked about. But again, these are just things that I've talked about that I think are interesting to note. Whether you want to use a dog analogy or not, I don't know. That's your choice, but I did, and I enjoyed it, so...
Hello, Bella Editing here. I just want to quickly remind you all that overall, I like all of the songs in Harry's House, even though I might seem critical to some of them. I still like them, I just like a lot of the other ones more. And again, I'm just ranking them for fun. I'm just justifying why I like some songs more or less than the others. Obviously, my opinion will probably change, so in the grand scheme of things, my apparent opinion doesn't really matter. Also, you're not required to like everything an artist puts out just because you're a fan of them. You're allowed to not like a song. Also, at the end of the day, they're just songs, and as long as Harry likes what he's made, then that's it. It's really not that deep. Now let's get into ranking them for fun.
Moving on to the most exciting part, I guess, ranking the Harry's House songs. Again, these are my opinions. You can have your opinions. They're just as valid as mine. These are just my opinions on the songs. Comment your opinions below and let's talk about it, okay? Give me your arguments. Give me your arguments for why I should not put Daydreaming in the bottom. No, but in all seriousness, Daydreaming is at the bottom for me, and I'm gonna tell you why. It is not a bad song. In no way, shape, or form is it a bad song. At all. It's a great song. I understand why people like it. I understand and I like the overall concept of the song. I really do. I truly do. But there is just something about the ba 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 that is just repetitive in an annoying way. I understand why people like it. It just doesn't feel right with me. If I want an up-tempo song, there's also so many other songs on the album that I would much rather go for to hype me up than this one, and that's just how it's gonna be. That's just how it's gonna be. That's just how it's gonna be. And that is my opinion. Your opinion may be different. Argue below. 12th place, we have Grape Juice. I am an idiot. I forgot for a second that a grape was a thing. So I thought it was grapefruit juice, kind of like an orange juice, which in fact, it is not. It is wine. I love the chorus of the song. I truly do. The rest of the song, I am not that much a fan of. It's not that it's a bad song, not at all. It just doesn't speak to me, and I feel like in context with the other songs in the album, this is just not one that I would go for, and that is just how it is. Similarly, on 11th place, we have Late Night Talking, and I know what you're thinking. Bella, you covered this one. How can you not like it? I do like it. I love it. I loved covering it. I think it was so challenging for me to cover it, and I loved everything about it, and I learned so much through covering it. I liked it when it came out at Coachella. I think it was great, but again, now having heard all the other songs in the album, there's just other songs that I like more, and that is okay. Speaking of songs performed at Coachella, Boyfriends is my number 10. I love that it's just guitars and vocals and a million harmonies. I think it's so fucking great. I think it's really great that he put it on the album. I just don't relate to the song as much. I will crave to hear the song every once in a while, but it's not gonna be my go-to song. I don't know if that makes sense for anyone else, but I will listen to it, but it's not gonna be my go-to song from the album. Moving on. Number 9, we have Daylight. I love the verses. I love it. Bluebird, fly to you, honey, sticking to you, love it. Stunning, great, amazing. But the choruses are just not doing it for me. I respect the choruses. I understand that you would kind of want it to be a little bit more mellow and like simple. I wish that there was a bit more lyrically there. I think the verses make me like the song more, but I'm just not a fan of the choruses, but I like the song overall. Moving on. My dog is walking past. Tippy tappies. Can you move? Bye. On 8th place, we have Satellite. I love Satellite at the end. I love when the guitars, when the drums, I love the entire thing at the end. This was the tension that I was looking for. I love it. I'm just not a fan of the first half of the song. I like the second half of the song when it really like picks up in tension, but I like it overall, and I get why people like it, and I want to like it so much more. That's why I put it at number 8, because I think it's a song that grows on you, and I just want it to grow on me more. So that's why I've put it there. I'm not gonna say too much about number 7. 7 is, to me, love of my life. I love the drama of it. I love the production of it. I think it's great. I just like some of the other songs more. And I love the vibe of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. I love it. I think it's great. At number 6, we have As It Was. First of all, the bridge slaps. I love it. I also feel a bit nostalgic because it was like the first single off of the album, and I think you always kind of love that one a bit more because it's so special. I also think that it was a really good representation for the entire album. as a whole, especially now having listened to it all. I think it's a great song. Number 5 is Keep Driving, solely for the bridge. The bridge is the most iconic thing ever. If you've not listened to Keep Driving, you need to listen to Keep Driving and then keep listening and keep listening and keep listening until you know the bridge word by word. I have nothing more to say. Moving on. Number 4, I've put Cinema. To be honest though, I did claim track 8 before hearing the album, so I am a bit biased. I love the catchiness of it, but I'm also gonna put it number 4 solely because of the screams in the back. Harry really put his whole being into those screams, and I'm just here for it. I love it. Again, speaking of odd sounds, this is one. He like screams Cinema in the back so much. I want to see the footage of Cinema being recorded. It must have been so much fun to record it, and I feel like you can feel that through the song, and that's why I like it so much. Number 3, I don't have that much to say, is Matilda. Obviously, I covered it. I think it's great. I think it's great coverability. I also love any sad song. I think my sad songs playlist on Spotify is my favorite playlist that I ever have, most used playlist ever. I just love sad songs, and that's all I have to say. Speaking of sad songs, I also love happy songs, and Music for a Sushi Restaurant is number 2. I gotta be honest, I wasn't feeling it at first. I thought it was kind of odd. I have since come to the good side and am now in love with Music for a Sushi Restaurant. I think it's so quirky in the best way possible. I love the dynamics. I love the danceability. This is this one song I would go to if I wanted a dance party. This is the one. And people who don't like Music for a Sushi Restaurant, you need to listen to it some more and give it a chance, okay? Lastly, if you're smart, you know now which song I like the most. If you're not smart, I will tell you that my favorite song of the album is Little Freak. I love the song, the chorus, the verses, I love it all. Give it to me, it just hugs my soul in just the right way, as it should. However, as much as I love the song, I have one tiny problem with the song, which is one word I have a problem with. You know how people hate the word moist? I have now found a worse word, which is dangling.
Dangling.
I just hate it. I know I shouldn't. I know it's not a big deal, but I just hate it. I want to not hate it so bad, but I just do. I have also thought about why I do not like the word. This is a whole other rant. Get ready for it. My brain associates dangling to odd things. Then Harold had to put dangling after wet dream. If you have the same brain as me, I'm sorry. And I know it's supposed to be like, oh, they're pretty and they're like just right there and whatever. My brain immediately associates it with the imagery of, I don't know how to phrase this without getting demonetized. Not that I'm monetized anyways because I'm too small. But how do I say this? An unexcited eggplant on a non-clothed human who is walking. I tend to just block it out of my brain and then enjoy the rest of the song. And still, with dangling in the song, it is still my number 1. And that, my friends, concludes Bella Has Opinions with me, Bella, who has opinions, in this case about Harry's house. If you like this video, please let me know below. I will probably make some more. I have strong opinions about why birthdays are dumb and don't make sense. And if you have things that you want to hear my opinions on, comment them below. They don't have to be One Direction related, but if they are, I will also talk about it. Obviously, there will be more One Direction solo covers coming. Matilda is already out. Boyfriends is already out. Late Night Talking already out. As It Was is already out. Go check them out if you want to. So yeah, have a nice day, have a nice week, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!